G'day guys, welcome to the country town. It's only just started to be built, and this is just the main town, so no man's land. I'm trying to make it as realistic as possible. I've done a little bit of work to the workshop, and I can store vehicles here if I want. Little barbecue area and some seating while people waiting for their vehicle to be serviced and whatever. That's the only way in and out from the freeway, through that gate there. And with all towns, when you pull into town, there's usually a field. I've got weeds turned on. I wanted weeds all scattered throughout here. They didn't come up. But anyway, you come into the country town and then you hit the main road. And of course, the first thing you see is a McFushies. You know what the real one's called. I don't want to say it because I might get a strike against me for a copyright. So it's called McFushies, and it's the first thing you see. And of course, you need a service station. So if you're going to head out of town, you need to fuel up, and if you're coming into town, you probably need to fuel up as well. We've got a small service centre here as well. One of the country folk have got their car in here getting some work done, and you chuck a lefty here, we've got the bakery, a little place for people to stop and rest up, have something to eat. And this is part of a farmer's little grass area, and stone collection. There's stones in there, and I'm going to put some housing along here and get some housing along here. I'll put some fields behind the housing. This is a community centre, fire and emergency services in here, as well as a community centre. This has got a jail in it and everything. But a community centre, local pool, and a bit of a park area, a barbecue area. It's you got to be careful with slots. I'm on console, PS4, and you got to be careful. Everything's got real gutters in it, and it really changes the aspect of building, just painting dirt roads and stuff. Really changes the whole look of it. So driveways are all down at ground level, and the gutters go up. We've got footpaths both sides of the road, little grass area between the road, and I've actually built these roads at maximum width. As you can see there, that's the maximum width. And the reason I did that is because if I use big machinery, which I do, and this map's going to need big machinery, large tractors, large implements, I've got enough room to have one parked on the side of the road, and another vehicle can come past it and still stay on their side of the road. So two large vehicles will fit between each lane. So you can get four vehicles here. You get a vehicle parked here and a vehicle parked here, and one vehicle coming down this way, one vehicle going up, and they still got enough room to pass. So that's why I made the road so wide. Generally when I've built country towns, I've always used dirt roads, but this time I went with the asphalt, and it just gives it a bit more of an updated sort of town. As the road ends up here and we start going into the countryside, I'm going to do some country roads out of dirt and stuff, so I'm going to blend the dirt into here so there's a nice cross formation. That's a lot of work to do yet, but this is an alleyway. It's going to run up the back, and the farm, there'll be a farm to the right hand side and all the fields. And this alleyway is going to run right up the back of the houses here, so it's kind of realistic eventually when I get to it. But the main thing I'm doing today is I fenced off this area, and I'm going to make this a national park. So when people pull into town, they can come up here, and I'm going to put some parking in here. So, and I've got to do a gate in that here. I just needed some entryways. So there's a couple of little huts in here, not many, but just a little, like a retreat kind of area. And I've got to paint in some paths and put a couple of boats and stuff like that around, so you know, kayaks and all that, so people can just chill. But I've got to cut in some pathways first, and I'm going to do that now. I'm going to use rock, and this will be the main walkable path, and through a little campsite here. And the reason I'm doing all this for a reason, you'll see soon. This is all walkable area. This will be full of trees, just hundreds of trees. So we're just going to make it, you know, people could come down here, and there'll be some boats and that here in this little area. I'm doing it in stone, so I'll be able to see the track through all the trees. And off here I'm going to just make some little entryways to each people's little huts. And I'm doing it in stone because you won't see it. You won't be able to see the tracks once all the trees are in. We've also got another little one here. We'll just do a straight line path to this one. And that's about it. I'm going to fix up this little campsite here. It's not going to stay like this. Just going to change that around a bit. And we've got our little path up here to this one as well. So nothing major, just a couple of bits and pieces. So yeah. We also need to fix this entryway up here a little bit. And we'll just narrow it down to branch off one way and branch off the other. So the hard bit now, and we've got ourselves a little seating area, and of course they'll take us down here to the river. So you can see the walk paths, and once all the trees are in and they've grown, you'll be able to see why I've done that. You'll be able to see the tracks. So the first thing I need to do is head to the shop. I'll do that now. Into the shop up here. It's a rather tedious task to do this, but when you fast forward a couple of months, it really makes it all worthwhile. So the tree sapling pack, I use this one because you get 316 trees for 8 slots. Okay, instead of using 316 slots, I'm mainly using 8 for the same amount of trees. I don't want it pine. I'll just go with the standard spruce. And to use that, where is it? How have I missed it? It's here somewhere. We need the planter, but it's a special one. For the life of me, I cannot see it. Over the last couple of days I've streamed a lot of hours. I didn't have a microphone, now I do. It's not here. Anyway, I'll have to get it from here. Go to forestry. forestry equipment, and there it is, right there, PL75. It's really going to change how the map looks. There's so much work to do, but it's fun. I enjoy building maps. I've played farm sim for a decade. I've pretty much done everything that you can do in farm sim, and so I like to do things differently, you know. I love building maps and creating different things. First of all, I'm just going to do a boundary just through here. Now these hang out quite wide, so I don't want it to encroach on the car park area. I think I'll start them somewhere about here and keep that distance. I'll just do a border first. This may not be the most exciting view, but it is what it is, I guess. I'm just trying to show some of you what's able to be done, and maybe hopefully you might pick up a few ideas from me or whatnot, you know. I'm only a little YouTuber. I just enjoy playing the game, and if some of you like the content and pick up a few tricks or tips from me, then that's all well and good. That's for me. I just enjoy all this sort of stuff. There we go, we missed out a little bit here, but I've just put these rocks down so I don't get misguided when I'm doing the trees, because you can't see them for a number of months. Very difficult to see, and I've got to put another hut just there. I use the same one so it doesn't keep costing me different slots. And the secret to keeping your slots down is, what you do is you place your first one down, that might be 4 slots, and then you exit out, and when you go back in you can build the same structure. It'll cost you only 1 slot. There's a little tip there in case some of you didn't know. So if you're buying 2 tractors and they're 37 slots each, buy one, exit out, and then go back in, and the same tractor will be 1 slot. And that way you can save, because slots are everything. You can have $10 million in your account, but if you have no slots left, the money's useless. So yeah, slots are everything. There's no value. You can't buy slots once you've spent them all. So yeah, it's a little bit boring, I guess, but we're going to completely pack this area with these spruce trees, because the map is built on spruce trees, so we'll keep that theme going, so everything stays the same. And I'll just scatter in here 1 or 2 different sort of breeds of different trees, and just make it look you know, a little bit more authentic. It is farm sim, and you know, we're going to do the best we can. And the reason I start on the outside is so I can actually see and keep up with where I've planted. I have a rough idea of where I've put the trees. Just want to get this just over a little bit more. And I don't want to approach too far on the water source. Because these trees do hang out quite a bit. That'll be it just for there. I'm just going to do an out border first. right next to this. Just run a line along the road here. I guess what you put into the map you build is what you get out of it. So yeah, it's a tedious, boring job, but if you do it and it works out, that's all pretty cool then. It's going to go round and round. I really enjoy building maps. I always come to no man's land because it gives you such an opportunity for creativity. You can really pretty much do whatever you want. And it also, if you start on easy, you'll get the most amount of slots when you sell your beginning farm and all your implements and the buildings. You'll end up with using about 570 slots. If you start off, that's your new farmer. If you start off on the other two levels, you'll still have about 700 slots used. Don't ask me why, but that's just how it is. So if you start off on new farmer, you'll have the most amount of slots to use. Putting these trees where we want. I want this to be a little bit more open in here. Oh, we're going to hit, might be another one sitting on there. We'll bring the end of it. A little bit dark in here at the moment. Got our line of trees there. I'm going to continue this line through here. Get up to here. There we go. Line on the fence line here. I mean, the town's only very small right now, but it's already taken me a number of hours building the roadways, the gutters, getting everything like footpaths and the road, you know, looking right and square. It's a real pain. When you try and use paint on console with a controller, it's extremely difficult, and you just have to be patient, be consistent, and just know that the final outcome will result in something pretty awesome. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't take that long, you know, for the reward that you get out of it, and the amount of work that you put in. It's all worth it. I'm going to cut in a little sharper to the left here, because these trees do hang over quite a bit, and think about this line, because there's probably going to be a field or some houses to the left here, maybe even a little logging centre just right next to it. I don't think anyone would want to come to a retreat and hear logging going on constantly, so I may even extend it out a little bit more. And we're back to where we started. One more, yep. That's where we started. So another tree starting from here. sensitive if the lights are bright. I kind of have to. Go back over. There's the lot of the trees there. So we'll follow the path now. In the middle of these I might put some elms or something, because they thicken up the elm trees and they take up, they're a good space filler as a tree. They fill the middle really well. So out of 16 slots I'll have 700 odd trees, and that's a pretty good payoff in my mind. Lay that up. That's why I took down the walking trails first, so I kind of know where I'm going to go. Fill the middle there next. It's just a little nature reserve. I've got some signs for it as well, so I might do that up. Free, of course. There's no charge to get in. And just a couple more minutes and we should be done here. And we'll do a couple of sleeps and get into stage 2 or so of the growth, and then I'll come through and put elms, because the elm trees, they grow really fast in comparison to the spruce. Town coming along alright. Constant hard work. Like what I was saying is trying to get the roads perfectly square and straight lined, and then to leave a put down the grass and then the footpath. And on console, when you're painting, you'll get jig-jags left and right and all over the place, so you've got to go and clean them up, and it just takes a really long time. A really long time. And then of course you come back and do your gutters, and then you've got to delete bits and pieces and put your footpath walkways in, so you know people aren't stepping off a gutter and whatever. And all the driveways as well, so they're rather large, these gutters. They're the ones that I like though, the ones that I use. And this is only a grass field, so when you're pulling into town you always see a few fields, and that is access for the farmer to farm his grass field there. But yeah, you'll see what this looks like in a moment. That's that field. Elms are going in the middle of it. Done around there, we've done our left. I'm going to leave this a little bit open. Trees there, we've done that road. Right through the middle here, so we can put another road just in here. I want it to be fairly thick. There, and we've got some to the right. May even get another row in here. I think we will. still want the access to the water there a little bit open, so I don't mind the rest of it being chunked up. This row here done, so we'll fill the middle of this one, see all the saplings here. That'll leave the waterway opening up by putting that in there. Later on, if I want, I can come through and log this. If I don't want to keep it anymore, I can just log it. And, you know, it adds another dimension to the gameplay. So instead of farming and doing fields and monster fields, I've done it for 10 years. I like to build. And that's why I'm only a little YouTuber, but I try and give a few tips out. I'm not the best player in the world and not the worst. I try and help everybody have a different look on the game, what you can do and experiment. You can't go wrong. If you make a mistake, you just paint grass back over it, the green one, and then you just put the weeds back on the top, the field grass back over the top, and start again. It's alright to make mistakes. Every time you make a mistake, it's a learning curve that you've gotten past. That's enough trees now. Just double check as we go through as we exit out. We'll leave a little bit of room for some elms. Now left here. It doesn't work, it doesn't work. I don't do a save until I see the trees have grown a bit and see what it looks like. If I've made a mistake, I'll just restart and I'll exit the game without saving. And that way I don't have to restart the map or go and log it all or chop the trees down or anything. It's a game for fun, it's a simulator. pain, but it's worth it. Got to leave them lights on so I can see. Can't unload these, so the secret is store the trees where you want them. I'll put them out of the way back here. So I can still load them. Drop that off. And move forward because it's going back there. I might be a bit too close to the shot, but we're going to do a reset. And there we go, and it leaves our trees down there, the ones that are left over, so we're not wasting the 8 slots. And we've got the rest of the map to plant trees yet, but I'm not going to do that. So they're still there, and I'm going to have a few sleeps, and then I'll come back and decide what trees I want to put in after that. Make it 9 o'clock. We'll have to sleep a couple of times. I'm trying to make this interesting, but it's not exactly the most fun to watch someone planting trees, but I'm trying to show you very quickly what you can do just to make the town you build a little bit more realistic. Adding things like gutters and you know, street gutters and street signs. You know, I'd love to add AI traffic, but there's no AI traffic in no man's land. So at the end of the day, when you do build your map, it's only ever going to be you and anyone else who comes on to play with you. The problem I find is most people don't like to use building mods and download them. And I've got all the decorative mods and all that sort of stuff, so yeah, it's very rare that someone will come on and play with me, but it's alright, it's all good. And that's why I keep building maps. If I had a PC, I'd build them on PC, and I'd do them for Giant software. But I don't have a PC, so I'm kind of stuck to console. So we'll need a couple of sleeps here. It shouldn't take too much longer. It just takes to go from sapling to stage 1. It takes about 4 to 5 sleeps. So we got 2 or 3 more to go, and I'll just run between the sleep triggers. let me sleep. I'll run between the sleep triggers and just kind of speed it up as quick as I can. And then I'll end the episode after we see the result of it, and I'll continue this series on. I do live stream this series, but it's really hard to... I've got a small TV, so when I live stream, if I put comments up, I've got only half my TV to see what I'm doing, and it makes it really hard to farm and build when, you know, when you're being intricate. For instance, things like this, if I'm going to put curbs like the dotted lines in the road, like these, you have to really zoom in to see it, and these are under fences, they're paintable, and they're just up here a bit. And it's not that one, they're concrete curbs, but they're really small and they don't quite look right. That's why I use the larger ones, and these are here curbstones. So, you know, it's really hard to get them straight, and I paint them at a distance. What I do is first I measure the side of the road, and that's 162, we'll call it 160, so I'll come across 80 or 82 I did in this case, and the length of them is 40, right, and I'll paint that, and then from the end of the one I've painted I go up 80, right, and then I'll paint the next one at 80 out to 40, and that's how you keep them evenly spaced. They're still curbstones, but they don't have a bump on them. So if I was to do it with these gutters, they're really big. You can barely drive over these actually. It knocks your tractor around and your trailers a fair bit. So that's what I use for the road markings, and it just really changes things, considering we don't have roads to use on console. We don't have these dotted lines to paint. It's much better than trying to paint, for instance, trying to use the painting tool with the concrete here, trying to paint white lines. I mean, like, it's impossible, and it doesn't even look that good. Even if you go on the small circle and get it right on the grid line, it's just terrible. So that's the secret I found, a little trick. It just really changes the effect of using, you know, normal roads or dirt roads, or, you know, painting like this. Sure, it kind of looks country like, but it's not quite the same. So you see how you always miss little bits and pieces. So it's like there, I'd have to come back here, get my green grass, use it on the smaller square, and start off wide and work my way in till it just paints that section, and try and keep it as straight as I can. And then if it goes out a bit out here, then I've got to go back to the other colour and then fix that up, and I may have to do that a number of times. So it's a very daunting task, very fiddly, and takes hours to do, but I enjoy it. It is very frustrating at times. We may need one more sleep to see the growth, and we'll do this now. It should be this month now we see the first stage of growth. Comet came through that night. Was it Halley's? Or was it the UFOs? I didn't look at this grass field. This will be ready for sure. Yeah, it is. No weeds though. I've got weeds turned on. No weeds grew. Not sure why. Because I wanted that. I was never going to ever work that grass field. I just wanted to have weeds in it to look kind of, you know, run down a little bit as you're pulling into town. We should have tree growth this time. should have. And this time. Pine take even longer to grow. Spruce and spruce 2 take a long time to grow, but once they start to grow, then each month they grow a little bit taller. But it's just from sapling to stage 1. There we go, they're up now. So we'll take an overhead view. Well, as you can see, this is why I left the paths. Alright, I mean these get bigger and they get wider. So that's just completely changed the outlook of pulling into town now. So yeah, coming into town, a field on the left. I wanted weeds in that, but anyway, you got your footpaths. Oh, we're coming into a fancy town, and oh look, there's a bit of forestry here. This will all thicken up. If I didn't plant any more trees here, these will still get taller and wider. So, and as you can see, that's why I left the paths in. Okay, so just a few tips that all help. And you come down here, you kind of feel like you're on a little bit of a vacation. Got your little hut, you've got a clear little area around it. You can put down, a little barbecue and some seating areas here if you wish. And yeah, so what I am going to do, not this episode, I'm going to finish this episode in a moment, but I'm going to come in these empty spots. I'm going to put some elms in there, and just a couple, and that'll thicken like the areas around them. And so when you're outside, you won't necessarily see through the gaps. So it'll kind of give it the effect of a pretty thick little bushland. And then I'll put some oak trees just here and there, sort of scattered through as a little variance. And yeah, so some parking there. Oh, a little tip with these parking spots: if you want to put down a couple of vehicles, I'll just get over to the vehicles. I'll just put one car here, just so just to show you a little tip with it. And they look quite empty as a parking lot. That's for the McFushi's customers. I've actually got to put a little gate here as well. Continue this path through here so people can get across to their car instead of going out back to the road. But the vehicles are coming up now. In a moment we'll see the next lot of buildings, and then here we go. Here are the vehicles. Where's one that I got one slot on? Here we go. So it doesn't let you place them. It'll let you place them over here, but if you want to put them in the parking spots on PS4, hit the triangle button and you can free place them, and sky's the limit. I've done one over here as well in the community centre area, and same vehicle actually, because it's only one slot. I don't intend on jamming the field, the place around with it. And another reason I'm not putting them on the side of the road to park here in the way is because the size difference between the actual machinery and the cars is very, very strange. So it just wouldn't look right driving around. But anyway, alright, now got to bring this episode to a close, and we'll see you probably in the next live stream, or I may even keep this series going just as a video short series, and just show bits and pieces of what I've been doing. Okay, take care. Like and subscribe if you want. It's I'm only a little YouTuber. So alright, thanks for watching.